So tonight is one of my favorite topics of all, James. Yours too.
Yep.
I mean, free will versus destiny. So what are your thoughts? Because I have a lot of thoughts too on this subject.
I know you have some great examples as well.
I do.
Which really brings it home. But to me, and I could be totally wrong, it's just my way of looking at it, what I've been told or what I've gleaned from the years of doing this is that before we're born, we connect with our spirit guides, our council, if you will, our team, soulmate, soul group, and we work out our plan. We work out our agenda or a curriculum for the upcoming school, the class we're going to take on planet school Earth. And I believe there are certain things you have to learn that the soul must go through. Well, I call them destiny points. But there's also within that curriculum, we always have free will. So we always can choose certain things. Now, I always believe the example was, we go down the woods and walk down the trail and go by the water. We can do that. We're destined to go down that road. But if we want to go to the stream or the lake, we go down there and hang out there for a while. But eventually, our higher self will get us back on that path. But we have the choice whether to go down there to that lake and look around and stay there as long as we want, and eventually get back to our destiny.
That's a good one.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
And what do you think, Kelly? What's your definition of that?
Well, my definition is exactly what you talked about. I mean, we have destiny points that our soul has to have because it's for the growth of us. So we will grow. And when we come to Earth, Earth is a free will school. And James, this is one of my favorite things and you and I had talked about this. You know that expression, if only I could go back and do it again.
Yeah.
If only I could go back and do it again, I would make a different choice. Really, you would? Ooh, okay. Well, guess what? You, my friend, get to go back and do it again. You get to come back. The circumstances may look totally different. Everything may look different. But the bottom line is, what choice are you going to make? And when people say, well, the universe tested me. No, the universe doesn't test you. You test you. The higher self tests you. So yes, you will have opportunities to go back and make a free will choice. But there are certain things that, first of all, let's say this, destiny and free will work together.
Hand in hand.
Hand in hand. So if we look at a perfect example of height, would you say height is destiny?
Definitely.
Yeah. And then
your genetics, destiny.
Your genetics, destiny.
Like destiny.
Right. But your weight, in most cases, would be free will. Because I've been all sorts of weights, high, low, medium. I've been all sorts of weights. And it's I've always known I've had a choice about how I want it to be.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that in life, let's go back to class. The classroom, there are certain classes that you're going to take, you're programmed to take this lifetime. And those classes could be anything from the family dynamic. It could be partners. It could be a job. It could all these different types of destiny points. Your soul has to grow. But again, you can choose how long it's going to be. You can choose to be upset with someone. You can choose to not forgive. You can choose not to move away. You can choose what job you're going to be in. There are certain destiny.
That's the free will right there.
That's free will right there. You get the free will. You get the choice of what works for you. And the best way, I believe, that people can choose the right way of doing things, free will, is to tune into who they are on their soul level. Intuition means the voice of the soul. So the more one listens to that little voice within, the easier it'll be to make that choice. Because you have to get from the head to the heart. And a lot of people have trouble getting from the head area because that critical mind gets in the way. But if they get to that heart, that pure sense of their soul's language, they can make the right choice. Even if it doesn't make rational sense. I quit Paramount Studios 40 years ago to do mediumship. Why would I do that rationally? Why would I do that? It paid very well, but insurance benefits, the whole thing. I didn't know anything about where I was going to get paid for mediumship, but I knew within my being that felt right, that had to happen. I didn't know how it was going to work out, but I knew it had to be. And I think many times the universe will test us day after day after day. And we want that. We want to be tested. So it's almost the more we test, the more we get to know ourselves. And more we choose.
But I think it's us testing each other. I mean, ourselves, our higher selves are just testing us.
Yes. Our higher selves is testing us. You bet. And, it's interesting, Kelly, because we have that free will. We have that choice to bring certain people in our lives, to bring situations in our life by our behavior, how we choose to behave, how we choose to be. That will affect many, many things. Now, you'll have destiny points, but you can choose, I don't know, the way things happen to you. How are you going to do with that? So let's say there's a like people are destined to meet one another. They're destined to meet one another, perhaps going to have a coffee together. Now, that's a destiny. But the choice to become friends, to be a one-time thing, to make it something deeper, that's free will.
Right.
So that's different. But the destiny is they have to meet each other.
That's so interesting. So I had this experience happen to me 2 times. So, and I'll tell you what it was. The first one was in 1981. A girlfriend of mine said, let's go to a party. I said, I don't want to go to this party. She said, well, come on, it's, you know, it'll be fun. I said, I don't want to go. She said, well, there's a guy I want to meet that she wanted to meet. I said, oh, it's the last thing I wanted to do. So I go to this party. I did not want to go. And James, as I'm at this party, my girlfriend says, oh, I like that guy over there. And I said, oh, go you. You know, I literally go to turn because I'm thinking, I want out of this party. These people are not, I just want the hell out of here. And all of a sudden I hear objectively. So you know how you and I talk about, do we hear it objectively or subjectively? I heard objectively, you can do this now or you can do this later. Yes. And I said, what? Yeah. And I heard it again. You can do this now or you can do this later. And I'm like, and here's the weirdest thing. This was,
that's part of that's in your book, Kellee.
It's in my book. That's right. But I was like 22 or 23 at the time. And I knew intuitively what it meant. How could I have known what it meant? I knew that this was a karmic situation. And I looked at this guy and I'm like, there is no way. And at that exact moment, I felt a push into him. And I tell you, 2 years later, I had my daughter, and I can tell you it was my daughter who had to have that person. But I was like, there is no way. And the second time I heard that same voice was husband number 2. And I was like, no way. But when I met, so those were destiny things because I had a lot to learn, which was extremely helpful, actually. It was like hell during that time, but it was now I look at it as, wow, did I learn a lot. But then when I met Don, that was different. I didn't hear the voice, but we were put together in a lot of destiny situations. But I knew, James, that I had the free will to make any decision I wanted because he didn't fit the profile of the bad guy. So I wouldn't have been somebody I would have chosen. But I knew I was there to make a free will choice. And I made the best choice I could have ever made.
Now here's one, Kellee, which I'm sure will be asked this later, but if someone, let's say a kid, goes out to a bar or something, get drinks, or goes with some friends, they take drugs, and or they drink, and they hit the car in the accident, and the kid dies. Now, is that destiny or is it free will? So that's an interesting one because
it's a complicated one.
It's a complicated one because that soul chose to go and have that extra drink or to take the drugs or whatever, choose to get in that car. That was free will. Didn't have to. The destiny point could have been that they met each other, they were friends, but what that soul choose to do. So it's an interesting one because that free will.
Or did that soul choose to pass away during that, or was there a karmic destiny here for this to happen?
Right. Or was it that soul's free will to play with his destiny point, their destiny points,
which are tied together,
which can happen.
Yeah,
so
which can happen too.
Cut and dry. It's not so black and white.
Right. That's a really good example.
It's a good example, isn't it? Because I've done so many, as you have, many readings with parents with children. And it's so interesting because part of it is this was destined, or someone said, I shouldn't have been there at that time. My free will did this. I died younger than I should have.
Oh,
so how they have to look at that. But there's no death. It's just a change of space. So
right.
It's an interesting one.
It
depends. And it all depends on the exact situation. Everybody has. You can never compare because everybody's unique individuals.
I remember, James, when after my head injury and I was having these dreams and experiences while I was on the other side. And one of the experiences I had was I got to be in this giant auditorium watching people raise their hands and volunteering for situations such as 9/11. Or any of the big ones you choose. And I saw people raising their hands. And I remember thinking, oh my God, why are they raising their hands? Don't they know this is going to be? And then I knew immediately after 9/11, I understood that the people that were in the towers that were struck, would have been a destiny point for them. Now the firemen, for me, every one of those firemen made the decision to run up. Every one of those firemen.
They made that choice.
They made that choice. And I thought that was free will.
Mm.
What do you think? Or do you think, free will leaving?
I like that example. It's hard because
yeah,
I don't know. It could have been a destiny point for some of the firemen. It could have been choices, free will for the others. It's a mixed bag there. It's hard to define, the growth of one soul compared to another. But it's a little bit of both, I think, in that respect.
Yeah.
It's all about learning, whether it's free will, destiny. It's all learning. And again, we can learn quicker and make the best choice, again, by using the intuition. That's what God gives us to live down this earth, this school earth, is your intuition. So you can't think your way out of it. You got to feel your way out.
Absolutely. And when you make free will choices, there's a responsibility that goes with it.
100%. 100%. You can't blame anyone but yourself.
Exactly. You cannot. Exactly. And that's how you learn,
Yeah,
that's how you learn with this kind of thing.
It's very true.
Oh my gosh. Very true. So let's see.
I'm using my iPad, Kelly, so I can't see any comments. So
okay. Well, let me.
You'll have to read them. I'm sorry.
I will look for that. I will look for some of these. One of the examples I wanted to give, James, was, let's say the destiny was to be a doctor.
Yes.
But the free will would be, where did you go to college? What was your way? What did you want to study? Maybe you wanted to be a psychiatrist, and instead you became a something. That would have a lot to do with both free will and destiny there too.
It's very funny. I was watching television the other day, and I saw Patty Griffin, and I'm like, "What happened to Patty Griffin?"
Who was Patty Griffin? I don't remember.
I'm Kathy Griffin.
Kathy Griffin. Yes.
Griffin. Yeah. So I'm watching that, and all of a sudden I see her lips. And could it be a destiny point? Yes, she wanted to be on television. She wanted to be well known. She was, but she made that choice to redo her face or her lips, and her lips turned out, well, I guess from what she showed, pretty bad. She tattooed lips. That was her free will. That was her choice.
That's free will. Yeah, absolutely. That's free will. Definitely. Kyle Hodges, I'm tired of being a victim. So I'm good.
Yeah,
so I'm trying to choose it gets boring, James. Is that the truth?
And people around you don't like it.
Oh.
They get bored.
Amen. So I'm trying to choose my destiny that my soul wants me to choose. Great. So my question is, can I stop being a victim, or do I let the cards fall where they may?
Well, I think. What do you think, Kelly?
Oh no! Stop being a victim. The moment you have you change your consciousness, you change where all the cards fall.
Don't look up the universe to do it for you. You got to do it yourself.
Absolutely.
And I would say it's really, number one, finding out what your passion is. What are you passionate? What lights up your soul? What makes you love what you're doing? What's the passion you have? For a lot of victims, sometimes they got to take chances. They got to go out and do it without knowing what's going to happen. But it's believing in yourself enough. Right. You can't let someone else guide you or believe in you or love you. You got to love yourself. It's the best way out of it. And follow your passions. That's what happens. And when you do that, the universe everything falls into place. The universe will fall things into place. But if you sit in one place of being a victim, boy, it gets very old fast.
Well, it's so myopic, and there's no growth.
Right.
And again, as you said, everybody around you is like, wah, wah, wah. I've had enough. It's just too much already.
Yeah.
So Christine Salisbury says, when it comes to exit points, are they all obvious to us that we escaped it? She said, I'm curious about our fears, something that is a destiny point for the ending. So, but when it comes to exit points, are they all obvious to us that we escaped it? I think
that's really interesting. Good question.
Good question.
I don't think they're all obvious, but I think many times our free will could end our lives.
Yes.
Right? If you just choose to end my life, that could be your free will ended that class. You cut school early. Your free will got in the way. That may not have been your destiny point.
And it's earlier what you said about intuition. If you really use your intuition, the intuition might say, don't go on that trip.
It's happened many times to me where I've almost died several times. Once was I was putting gasoline in a car in a 1967 Impala when I just moved to Los Angeles. The gas tank didn't work, the gas scale. And it was a Saturday night, and I was on a major street. It was like 11 o'clock at night. The car stopped working, and there was a gas station right there. So I went and got the gasoline, the can, was kneeling down. Something doesn't feel right. I went back to the gas station. I was saying, bang. and there was a car that went right into the back of that car. So if I was kneeling down there and didn't listen to Little Voice Within, I'd be dead. And there are several of those sorts of things that I'm sure a lot of us have had.
Yeah. Wow.
Little Voice Within, even when everything doesn't make sense, but that little voice does. That's the best way.
Wonderful.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Renee. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
That was great. Maybe we changed some lives.
And maybe opened up some minds.
Which way do I turn?
Right. I mean left.